of course, not a meteorologist, but Rich, you know what you are. You grew up in Western New York, upstate New York, where you get lake effect snow, you get big winter weather events. You're an expert on what you need to do to common sense get prepared for the cold. Because we've seen videos, people say, hey, you got that snow shovel ready? I don't think that's an issue, right? Nope. So let's talk about this, Rich.
In Jacksonville, Florida.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe that. Listen, Robert, you went to school for meteorology. You are a trained meteorologist. I went to the school of wake up early because you have to go shovel and scrape off your mom's car. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to snow. Rochester, New York, born and bred. These items here, snow brushes, snow ice scrapers, these remain, all four of these, in the back seat of my SUV 12 months out of the year because I was born and raised in Rochester, and you never know when it might snow or scrape off the ice. This big one, in fact, this was back when I had a Ford Explorer. This heavy-duty monstrosity was in the back. It actually snapped in half when I was loading in my kayaks one day. Seriously, I keep it all year round for that reason. But before it broke off, this gnarly thing snapped in half there. And then this part could extend in case you needed to really go far and get a lot of snow coming down. The heavy-duty brush we're talking here, and then it's got a squeegee thing over on this side as well. And then look at this gnarly ice scraper here. It's got like 4 inches and then teeth as well. You could just scrape through anything. I also have this one. This is my normal go-to, not quite as heavy-duty, but still long extending for the SUV. But I actually did use this last week, 2 weeks ago. We had like heavy frost, and honestly, I probably could have just like wiped it off with my hand, but I figured I have these in the back of my car. I'm going to use this. And then this bad boy here, it's got teeth where you could jab into the ice and then wax on, wax off, Karate Kid style.
It's one of my favorite ones right there.
But Robert, I got to say, this is what really frosts my cookies about what we've been doing with our forecast. A lot of the images of snow we've had, because we're just using like stock footage, are from up north where it really snows a lot. The whole idea of needing to have a shovel in your car to shovel out the snow or put chains on your tires, that's not what we're going to be getting here. And you can dive into the science more on that. That's so rare as well, even up there, to have chains on your tires. But some common sense things to just help you along, because we are going to have winter-ish weather. And I say ish somewhat flippantly because I am from upstate New York where it's 0 degrees right now, and I've worn flip-flops every single day since November 5th of 2021 while I've been here in Florida. But there's some things that can really help our viewers at home who will be dealing with this for a full time. First of all, fill your car up with gas before all of the nasty weather comes for 2 reasons. One, if you're having your car on longer to warm it up, and if you don't have all these ice scraping tools to scrape off the ice, let's just be honest, you're probably just going to have your car running for a long period of time to warm and defrost the windshield. Fill your car up with gas because you are going to be using more gas than you normally would to just get your car warm. 2, the extra gas in your car helps weigh the car down in case you do get in a slick ice patch. The heavier your car, the more you'll be able to just continue as planned, as normal. And then we've seen it before. It sounds really, really weird and kind of dumb, but a bag of kitty litter in the back of your car, in the trunk, whatever, can also help weigh your car down. But if you do need to get in sort of a slick, rough patch, the kitty litter adds a little bit of extra traction. Now, if I-95 is totally iced over, if the Matthews Bridge is completely iced over, that bag of kitty litter is not going to do anything for your traction. But getting out of your driveway, honest to goodness, it could help a little bit. So those are some of the simple recommendations I would have for our viewers. One thing you and I, actually, Robert, this morning we were talking about, before all of the freezing rain comes, you could lay a piece of cardboard over your windshield. The cardboard will catch all the freezing rain, and then when you're ready to go, you take the cardboard off, and your windshield is exposed as normal, and you don't have to worry about having all these heavy-duty pieces of equiment. I mean, look at this gnarly thing. It's like the size of a hand.
It's something like you could just use an Amazon box and throw it on there, and it'll cover up your window. And you're right, especially since we know this is going to happen, or at least to an extent, you can make a small
You are forecasting the possibility of this. And again, as far as I know, and you can dive into the science on all of this, we're not thinking huge, crippling, area-wide ice storm that would just drag down every power line.
The possibility is enough there to make the roads extra slick. So we want to make sure everybody's kind of being smart, being ready for
slow. If you do go on those roads, drive slow, drive with a purpose. Do not think you can weave in and out of traffic on Beach Boulevard like I know a lot of you do all the time. Just please don't. That's what's going to cause accidents. Thinking that you can overcome the snow because you have an SUV or a big heavy-duty truck. Listen, ice is nothing to mess with. Ice will cause you to spin out in fishtail. Be gentle on the gas. Don't slam on the brakes because then your car is going to spin around. Ease onto the brakes. Give yourself plenty of room.
General advice for just driving in general.
Yeah,
but
in general,
especially if you have some wintry precip out there.
And especially for southern drivers who do not have experience with winter weather. I joke all the time about being from up north. But listen, like, they are used to what we might experience. The other thing that I've seen often, you see it a lot on like Twitter and social media and stuff, when it's like sub-zero degree temperatures, people will boil water and then throw it outside and it evaporates. It's really cool to see on the internet. Don't do it here.
So
we're not getting that cold.
We've all seen these videos where Rich is talking about, so you throw the water up in the air and it instantly evaporates. It makes this beautiful crystals.
Oh, it's awesome.
It has to be like -10 to do that.
Yeah, we're not.
If you do that at 30, it's not going to evaporate.
I'm not going to say never, because the Ice Age happened and saber-toothed tigers were walking around the world at one point. But in our lifetime, I refuse to believe that it will ever be cold enough in Florida for that to happen. And even up in Waycross and like the further extents of our
it won't be that cold.
It's not going to get that cold. Like you're talking wind chills in like the low 20s-ish.
That's the coldest.
Wind chills. For that type of nonsense of throwing the water in the air, you need like sustained actual temperature of negative degrees.
One more thing I do want to say here, Rich, and we're talking about common sense. There's one last thing, and I only say this for 90% of our viewers here. They're going to be like, duh. But don't spill hot water on your windows, please.
Yeah, that could crack your windshield.
Shatter them.
The difference between the temperature grade, like that could be a big issue. And then where are you going? You got a gigantic crack down the middle of your windshield.
Yeah.
That doesn't help anyone.
So thanks, Rich. Common sense things.
Winter weather really grinds my gears.
Well, Rich will be here all weekend and all week talking about.
I'm putting these back in my car because you never know. But it's just raining today. It's just a miserable day outside.
Just a miserable day out there. But Tuesday night into Wednesday, Rich, you're going to be the most popular person on your block if you have those in there. Unless hopefully people take our advice.
Actually,
head out to the store and
I got some questions for you, Robert.
All right.
So you have the different models out there. The GFS, I think I named that one, and there's like a European and a Canadian and other things like that. What do you think is the most reliable for different types of weather? So we've got different. I know these are different models, so they must sort of have their own ideas about things. When it comes to like hurricanes, do rely on a specific one, and now that we've got like winter weather, does like a normally tropical sensed model not necessarily give you the best indication of cold weather?
It's true,
you looking at different things? Because I liked what you saw with the GFS. The GFS is just rainy on Tuesday, Wednesday, and it's just a miserable day, but nothing freezing, nothing dangerous.
Well, I think the Euro in this type of situation is actually better, the ECMWF. The GFS is good, but it does tend to lean a little bit more extreme with warmer temperatures on the first coast. Okay. A lot of the times on normal days, the GFS will say it's going to be 90 when it's actually 80. So I'm kind of leaning more to the ECMWF for that because they tend to get our temperatures a little bit more solid, but at the same time,
because the temperature is the key to everything results-wise.
Oh yeah, but there's
31 degrees, 33 degrees.
There's another thing that's pretty key, and you're right with the temperature, but it's liquid to snow accumulation, like the ratios. So one thing the ECMWF I don't think does very well, and I'm going to talk about this in a moment, is if it's 32 degrees out, it's cold. Usually it's about a 10-to-1 ratio from rain over to snowfall. But if it's right above or just below the freezing point, right above, I should say, it's a little bit wetter, so the snow doesn't accumulate as much. So these are factors we think into it.
That's
I think
another
both
thing. When we talk snowfall, like I have again, a lot of experience with snow, and this time of year is like you'd be playing pond hockey outside up where we're from. Normally, like in Rochester and stuff, when we get like big storms in like October, November, and yeah, if you're down in Florida, it starts snowing in Rochester in like October sometimes. It just happens. But because the ground is not frozen, the snow doesn't stay. Like it melts almost immediately. Like right now, it's 70 degrees outside today. Like the ground's not going to be frozen. Like
Yeah.
I find it very hard to believe we're going to have accumulated snow.
And that's why
in
we've been
Jackson.
stressing wintry mix. Accumulated snow, a Hallmark movie where you go outside and you got snow out there is less and less likely.
But to your point, that's why being weather aware is actually more important for our viewers, because it's not going to be a Hallmark movie. That would actually be the best winter conditions you could have, because you could just shovel the snow and there you go, you're fine. That wintry mix, the frozen roads, that happens when you have that sort of in-between weather, and that's what's tough. That's what's going to cause car accidents, and that's what's going to ruin your day.
All right. Well, Rich, thank you very much for stopping by. You can stay. You don't have to go anywhere. But
as a shameful plug, I'm going to go work on a future Stories of Service. We're meeting an Army veteran who found the help he needed to turn his life around through a court system, the Veterans Treatment Court here in Jacksonville. So that story coming up Monday on First Coast News.
Well, thanks, Rich. Hey.